Okay, so since the word meditation is such a contaminated word, has been used so often, although it came from the West, from the East, the West has contaminated just about everything. Like all the words really are becoming useless, such as love and things like that. Those words are just completely destroyed, and I'll talk about that later. But basically today I wanted to talk about a new word for meditation, because the meditation word has just been chewed out and destroyed. It's worthless in a way. It doesn't. Everybody thinks they have an idea of what that is. So I wanted to coin a new word, which is quantum resting. Quantum resting. So what is quantum resting? Well, that's the true purpose of real meditation, of true meditation, is quantum resting, which is when we stop using the lower faculty of thinking, this slow, really retarded mechanism by which we try to sort out the existential phenomenon around us and make sense of it. We actually have to allow that to stop computing, stop thinking, stop working things out, stop figuring things out, and just allow the quantum resting to take that place. Now, the quantum resting is going on behind everything, always. There's nothing that it's not like quantum resting comes into existence because of us. It's not like we are making quantum resting out of nothing. Quantum resting is the state that is already here if we're not constantly covering it over. It's still there, but it's being covered over. So true meditation, therefore, is quantum resting, which is the resting in this present field, this being, this aware, conscious state. And this is eternity itself. And like I have in several other videos, I go into the detail of this. But basically, there's the aware field of consciousness, which I am, which you are, which everything is. There's only one thing that is aware in the universe, and it is this quantum field. However, the quantum field can become aware of movement. And that's what's thinking and working out and figuring out and all this activity. But the non-activity is the highest form, because that's the purest, untouched state. So although we can talk about all kinds of things like interdimensional beings and demons and all these energetic forms and labyrinths and the world and different dimensions and all these things, which have a relative reality if you wish, the quantum field is behind all of it. The quantum field is actually the fuel of all of it. It's the driver of it all. It's the original Bintu point, the original where everything came from, everything comes from, everything's constantly being created from this quantum field. But the quantum field itself is pure potentiality, so it's always at rest. It's peaceful, it's loving, it's joyous. It's the first things that gets born from this quantum field is actually well-being, joy. All these words, of course, are not valuable as words. I'm describing them in words, but well-being is actually something you can feel in the body right now if you're still. Joy, bliss, goodness, rightness, love. You can call it what you wish, but there's just this very quiet, peaceful, silent presence. This is the quantum field. And this is what really all meditation is aimed at, to remove that constant, crazy, hectic, unstoppable human thinking processor, the mind, the human thinking mind, and the emotions that fuel it, from constantly just stopping that, from constantly being busy and causing all the turmoil and restlessness, and therefore allowing the quantum field to take over and start reorganizing the existential life, which means every aspect of existence. Once the quantum field is conscious of itself being there, then all the secondary, tertiary, and all the other effects that come after will be organized in a harmonious way. And that's why we need this new word, to make sure that we are clear on what we're talking about when people say meditation, because there's so many forms of just more objects, much more things, just more activity. You know, focus on the white light, focus on the blue light, focus on the top of your head, the bottom of your head, your breathing. You know, of course they all have a function to take the mind off of the normal crazy thoughts about me, myself, and I. But then you just focus on something that's right here and right now. That is, of course, a valid activity to still from the more crazy activities of the normal thinking mind, which is always constantly busy with its own personal gain and losses. And so we meditate, or we just call this now quantum resting, which is a very clean word compared to the meditation word. So we can get rid of the old, crappy, destroyed, maimed, misused, abused, raped word that meditation now has become. Like yoga, the same thing. I could talk about yoga for another 10 minutes or 15 minutes. The same thing. Yoga has become an absolute abomination in the West compared to what yoga really stands for. Now it's just physical stretching for egos, you know. So generally speaking, of course, there's still people practicing real yoga with the intent of doing quantum resting, because that's what it's aimed at. Yoga is aimed at quantum resting, so that you can actually use the body to move into stillness, right? Moving into stillness through movement. But nowadays, you know, you got yogas with goats on the back, you got, you know, sweat yogas, you got crazy everything, you know, all kinds of wacky yogas which are not the truth at all. It's another Western co-opt, another black goo takeover, another AI, you know, co-opt, another moment where we can see how the corruption of the fallen kingdom of lost mental behavior has taken something good and destroyed it and maimed it and raped it. And so yoga is also another word we should remove practically from our current society, because it is no longer valid. So quantum resting, that's the new word for meditation when it comes to me. At least it's a good one, and if it works for you, then it might be helpful. So the more you can quantum rest every day, the higher your vibrational level will become, because you are stilling the waters of the turbulent mind and emotions and allowing the quantum field to start taking over your life, which is what they really said in I think in the Bible. It says something like my will or thy will, you know. Father, I will have not my will, but only thy will be done, you know, thine will. And his will, the will of God, right? The will of God is the quantum resting field, and not living in an individual life of personal egoic interference and wanting to have the ego be at the steering wheel of the life, but actually allowing this quantum field to flow through and take over the life and be free in free-flowing flux of the quantum field of that's being the navigational GPS system, instead of the ego mind with its selfishness and its little me mine stories of the separate self. So quantum resting, be as still as you can, as often as you can during the day, knowing that working things out is not really a very functional tool to get back to harmony and love and justice. You'll find endless pockets to get lost in again, endless new theories and philosophies, endless new ways of looking at things and reconstructing it. And then one day, time's up and the body dies, and you'll be recycled into the false light systems of trapped souls, so they can recycle your energetic system or your spirit and use it again for another memory wipe, for another baby life. And then you have to be raised again and find your way again out of the trap, again trying to use the deductive faculty instead of this quantum field of induction versus deduction. So quantum resting is the way, which is the old word for meditation, right? Or it's the new word for meditation. The old word was meditation. The new word is quantum resting. Rest as often as you can in the quantum field of presence, of stillness, of silence, of this well-being, this aware, conscious love, joy, bliss. this pure state of pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure perception, silent, still, good, God, now, eternity, love, bliss, joy, well-being, I. Quantum resting is the way to peace.